In September 2020, Alistair Brownlee absolutely obliterated, dominated and wiped out the entire pro field at the Helvellyn Triathlon. This race went under the radar massively, and on top of this he donated his entire prize purse to the other pros and also to charity. I know, what a legend. His swim, bike and run times were absolutely sensational. Let's take a look. The race started in the freezing cold Ullswater Reservoir in the Lake District, with water temperatures being recorded at under 10 degrees Celsius on race day, which for those of you who swim outdoors know how brutally cold this is. The swim course was 1500 metres and had an Aussie exit, one of the reasonings for the slightly slower swim times. However, Brownlee absolutely obliterated the field in all three disciplines and averaged 1:13 per 100 metres, leaving him with a time of just over 20 minutes for the 1500 metre swim, which isn't blisteringly fast for him, but considering the conditions and circumstances, it was pretty damn good, giving him a 50-second lead coming out the water on second place and just under 4 minutes on Joe Skipper, his main contender. For Brownlee, this is his element, a cold wet day in the heart of the UK countryside, and as the race went on, his comfortability really showed, where he just ripped the competition to bits, and you know, he was just in his element. There's nothing like an old school transition, a muddy field with a bike rack. This race stripped it right back to basics. Brownlee's transition 1 was only 41 seconds, again, surprise surprise, the fastest T1 of the day. He rode his Scott Plasma, which had no disc brakes. At the time this race was on, I think this was just sort of when the resurgence of disc brakes was actually happening, so unfortunately he was unable to have them, because this was a course where you would have benefited strongly from this. And on top of this, there was no road closure, so we had it all to contend with. The bike course itself was 60 kilometres, with 1,100 metres of elevation gain, with the last 4-kilometre hill gaining 411 metres alone, with gradients of over 23%. Just ridiculously steep, especially for the high gears he was using, which I believe to be a 56.42 on the front and an 11.30 on the back. This level of climbing is very, very significant, and it's going to damage the legs, take it out on the lungs, and just absolutely rip the body to bits if you get the pacing wrong. So it's super important you don't overshoot the hills and just die. Brownlee, however, seems to flourish on these super steep technical courses, like in the ITU Kitzbühel event in 2013, where he absolutely ripped the legs off every other athlete, including world leaders like Gomez and Schumann. And it seemed like he was doing the exact same thing today in the Lake District, where he averaged a staggeringly fast 37.5 kilometers an hour, giving him a final time of 1 hour 36. And considering the severity of this elevation profile, this is just superb. And this was 3 minutes faster than Joe Skipper, who's considered to be an absolute uber biker in the triathlon world, although a course like this is very much dependent on your power to weight ratio, so the lighter riders are going to benefit massively from this. And Brownlee himself, being a light rider, I think he reaped the rewards, and this was very evident in the speed he was able to maintain. Now into transition he came after a superb bike split. One would expect his legs to now be absolutely shattered. By the way, he finished the entirety of the swim and the bike before some of the age groupers had even come out of the water. So insane. He now had to scale the entirety of the mountain Helvellyn, which has a total elevation profile of 900 meters. You're literally scrambling at the top. The weather's cold, you can't see anything because there's clouds, and the speeds he was able to do this after swimming and cycling was just crazy. What slid under the radar massively was that just the day before he was competing in a World Triathlon Series event, so he did this on tired legs. He had to drive through the night to get here and had to set his entire transition up on the morning of the event, not the day before, so he was at a major disadvantage, one could say, to everybody else. The 14-kilometre run took him a total time of 1 hour 17 minutes, equating to 5 minutes 30 per kilometre or 8 minutes something per mile. Now those times in themselves are not impressive at all. That's on a completely flat tarmacked area. However, for running up a mountain, a goddamn mountain, that is so fast. 900 meters. Genuinely, go to your steepest road you could possibly ever find and run up that for 14k. That is the equivalent, and I guarantee the pace you're able to hold is nothing like it. It's just mind-blowing. Especially, look at that. Look at that. There's rain, there's drizzle, there's clouds. Look at the rocks. They're scrambling. Just awesome. What makes this all the more impressive is that he didn't faceplant, fall, injure himself. He managed to get through this whole thing unscathed. And surprise, surprise, he absolutely dominated everybody, set a course record, and as I said at the beginning of the video, gave all his prize money away. What an absolute legend.